when I first found out I had breast cancer, I was kind of shocked because I did my mammograms in January because that's my birth month, and I would just celebrate by going and getting my mammogram. And so when I went and got my mammogram that year, everything was fine. I had no problems. I got a clear mammogram. And then a couple of months later, I was doing my self-breast exam and I felt a lump. And with me having had fibrocystic breast, lumps was not unusual in my breast. It was just something, they did an ultrasound and it's just what I had. But this one didn't go away and it continued to grow. And then I said, you know something, this is not right, because I was working at that time as a CNA. I was doing private sitting in homes, and I was actually working with cancer people who had cancer. So I had know the warning signs of cancer, a lump that doesn't go away, a lump that get bigger, changes in size. I knew that. And so when it started growing and it just got bigger, and I said, something is wrong going on here. And so I was just in shock. I was kind of shocked because I had just had a mammogram. One of the hardest, it was two. One of the hardest things was my mom passed from breast cancer. And so when I actually took care of my mom, me and my husband, we took care of my mom in my home. And that was hard, thinking that I would have breast cancer and I would pass from breast cancer just like she did. That was one of the hardest part of my journey. And it took me so long to get well afterward, because I said, okay, I've been diagnosed with breast cancer. I'm going to take a year off and I'm going to get through this treatment. But it didn't work like that. After a year of going through the treatment and everything, I didn't get well. My body, I just didn't recover the way I thought I would. And so it took from 2004 to 2008, I was just sick. I was in and out of the hospital. I was having different surgeries, and it was hard. It was really hard. And I remember one of my cousins was going to come down and visit with me. And she told her kids, she said, you know what? I think we're going to go see Rose earlier because she may not make it. And I think it was hard on my family too. It was really hard every year. You know, I'm having a surgery, and I'm to different doctor's appointments. So our journey just didn't end after that year of treatment. And that's why I tell people, ringing the bell is good. It's good ringing the bell, but sometimes you go back, and you have to deal with life after the diagnosis of breast cancer. The things that the different things that in your body now, you're not the same person. You might have other surgeries. I've had several surgeries since I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And so the journey, it keeps going. It keeps going. And sometimes you wonder, when will it end? Will it ever stop? Will I not have another surgery? Now, everybody isn't like this. This was my journey. And I think that's been one of the hardest things of the journey, you know, thinking that everything is going to stop and then there's something else come up. And my biggest support, sources of support was my family. My husband, he was there for me, and he was a support. And we had our three sons. They was there. And at the time of my diagnosis, my ex-husband, he was just coming into ministry. And so we had a church family there. And since he was in ministry, we was really blessed, because we had, you know, they just embraced us and helped walk us through this journey. And that's why I always tell people, I had a community standing around me. And some women don't have that. For me, my family and my friends was my biggest support. And as of today, my sons are my support system, and my family and the women's in the support group, they're my friends. And so we're still in this together. And so that has been one of my biggest support. And what motivated me through this journey was, you know, my relationship with Jesus Christ. I was a Christian when I was diagnosed. I questioned things with God, and it's okay to question God, to ask the whys in life. I do. And I asked him why. I said, Lord, I've been a Christian ever since I was 19 years old. I raised my sons in the Lord. My husband is a minister in the church. He's a minister of the gospel. We have a calling on our life. And I'm like, why me? Why is this happening at this time in my life? Why? And I questioned God on that. I questioned God, But that was my biggest motivation, that I had a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, because I knew all of this would work together for the good. And that's why I think a spiritual connection with God is good. For me, it is. And this is my own personal journey. For me, it was good. It was that relationship that I could pray my way through the storms. And I remember one time my husband coming in and saying, "What can I do for you?" And I told him, "It's nothing you can do. You can't do nothing right now at this time. I just needed to pray, and I needed to talk to God about a lot of things to understand the whys." You know, every time I had to have another surgery. I'm like, why? And every time the Lord would speak to me, the Holy Spirit would speak to me. And that's what carried me through those dark times. It's times when in a journey of breast cancer, you have some dark days. You wake up in the middle of the night, nobody's there to comfort you. And so what do? I talk to God. That's what I do. I still talk to God about things. I still do. And so that was one of the things that motivate me. And some of the lessons I learned in that, you know, that life is precious. Life is very precious. And you have to love people. And don't take life for granted, because in one moment, my life changed in one dot. When you sit in an office with a doctor and you walk in and they said, "Miss Holly, you have cancer," it's like time stops. Time stops. And I don't think you ever forget that time. And everything changes, because you know at this time and moment, your life is getting ready to change. What was is not going to be the same. And you don't know whether you'll make it or not. You don't know. But I knew that God had blessed me that I should live. But, you know, sometimes we're allowed to walk through the fire. We have to walk things out. And that's what I tell people. Sometimes you have to walk it out. And I walked it out. And so that was a blessing to me. That was one of my blessings right there, and my motivation to keep pushing forward. And that was a lesson. That was a lesson as being a survivor through that journey, that you know, we survive all kinds of things in life. And cancer is just another thing that we, as a survivor, we have to live through. And we have to trust God that the end results is in his hand. And so that's how I got through them years. That's how I got through those years. And how do I feel about breast cancer now? Well, I think, to me, it was a blessing in a way, because out of my journey with breast cancer, a ministry birthed out of that. Hope for the Journey, the nonprofit was birthed out of my journey, because, and I believe in my heart, God allowed me to go through those years for the simple fact that I could see things differently. And I just went through it because my life plan was to go through the journey of breast cancer for a year. I'm like having my life plan out, like things don't change. And I said, we'll get through this year and I'm just going right back to work and get back with my life. But it was a different plan. God had a different plan for my life. And I walked through those years. So when I was going through that, I saw there was so many different things in need. You know, you need your doctors. You need a good team. You need people in your life that's going to support you. You need people to walk you with the journey, even if it keeps going continually on. You need people to pray for you. You need counseling, people to counsel with you, because my journey was so long. I've developed anxiety. I went through depression. I had to go on medication. So I had to go to a counselor and let him talk to me and explain things to me and dig deep inside of me to see what was really causing the anxiety and depression. Because when we go through a diagnosis of breast cancer, we bring other things to the table. Whatever happened before, it's going to eventually come back up. And my doctor told me, he said, "Miss Holly, because you had fought so hard, because I'm a fighter, I fight the battle, you know." He said, "You had fought so long and so hard that everything just came down on you when you settle it down in life." And so I needed that, you know, and those are some of the things that I learned also. So about being a breast cancer, and that's how I feel about it, that breast cancer is not a death sentence. And you shouldn't look at it like when you're diagnosed with cancer, "Oh, I'm going to die." Because, you know, God is a healer. You know, he can heal everything. And so I advise women, do not go into it looking like that. Don't look at cancer as a death sentence, because it only brings on depression and anxiety. And everybody may not think the way I think, but this is my own personal opinion, you know. And what I give newly diagnosed lady is just, I mean, prepare for the journey. If you got time to prepare, like I had time to schedule things. I was diagnosed like in November. I was diagnosed in December, but my journey started early on because you had to go to the doctors and go through all of these different tests. Back then we did. A lot of things have changed since 2004, but prepare for the journey. Prepare for it. If you got time to set things in order, if you're working on a job, go and talk to the people go and talk to your bosses and your manager and say, hey, I'm going through this diagnosis of breast cancer. I've been diagnosed. They say I'm gonna have to take treatment, and ask them to work with your schedule. Ask them to work with you. Prepare your children for the journey. Prepare your husbands for the journey, your significant other, because the journey is going to be long and you're going to need help. A lot of things I had to learn along the way, but you're going to need help. And so I tell my clients, prepare for this journey. And when I say set your affairs in order, I don't mean, everybody should set your affairs in order for your family. Have people to come in and prepare your meals. If you got friends, and don't turn down their help. If they want to be generous, I remember when I was diagnosed, people on my husband's job would send us food. I mean, they would send all kind of food, and I was grateful for that. We schedule appointments for people to take me to the back and forth to the doctor to release things off, to release some of the burden off of my family members. So I had friends come in and do different things for me. If you got kids, see if your friends can pick up the kids from school. See if someone to come in and do babysitting with you, especially the young single mothers who have nobody. So I tell them just prepare. If you got the time to sit down and plan things out and get you a second opinion. You do not have to go. It's good to get second opinions. I did on some of my surgery. I would get second opinions. So that's really good too. And so that's what I do. Tell them, prepare yourself for the journey. You have a diagnosis of breast cancer now. You're going to need help. So prepare for this and prepare your family and friends for it. And you can and give out only as much information if you want to give out. You don't have to tell everybody. Just give it out as you see fit. And sometimes I tell people, get everybody on the phone. We can do Zoom now. Have your family on the phone. If they live in different places, have them all on the phone, on the Zoom call, and tell them one time, say, this is what's going on in my life, and I will keep y'all updated. And you can have someone set up your page in a Facebook page and just be posting on that. So that's what I would give to the newly diagnosed women, that just prepare yourself. Prepare yourself. That's how you prepare yourself for this journey. And that's it. It's been a long journey for me, but I'm 17 years out now. And I have a nonprofit that I run, Hope for the Journey now. And that's my way of giving back, helping other women, who they want to call and talk with me. And that was my way of giving back. And I believe that's why I survived the storm of cancer. So I could give back and help other women on this journey when they have nobody, they have nobody to talk to, and they can call me up and they can talk to me, and I can give them resources. And what I can't do, I can point them in the right direction. And so that's what I do. And that's what I've learned on this journey called breast cancer, that I'm a survivor. I have survived, and you can be a survivor too. And people ask me, well, when do you survive? When are you determined to survive? The day that you're diagnosed with breast cancer, that's the beginning of your you're surviving. So that's my advice. It's been a journey, but it's been good too. It's great things came out of my journey. And I am Rosie Holly. I am a survivor, and it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Hope for the Journey, like I was saying, I started it out of my journey with breast cancer. When I seen that there was a greater need after you rang the bell, which is wonderful to ring the bell, because it's like the beginning of life. You have survived the treatment. But then after the treatment, what do you do? So at Hope for the Journey, we created a community to uplift and support women's fighting breast cancer, because I believe that no one should have to face breast cancer alone. And so our mission is to give hope to those that's facing breast cancer and those walking the journey with them. So we offer a range of help for them. We offer counseling, which we help with the counseling, a cost of the counseling, because we have two counselors that work with us. Our chaplain, she's a counselor also. And then we have another counselor that works with us. We provide gas cards, financial support. We provide the spiritual support, but we don't, I have to say that we don't discriminate against people who are not Christians. We don't, because my thing is that counsel do not discriminate. It doesn't care what your social standing, what your spirituality is. It doesn't care. It just don't discriminate. So we welcome all kind of people into the support group if they want the support. We offer financial assistance. We help with food. We help with medical bills, lymphedema sleeves. Those are some of the things that we do. We offer monthly, so education and outreach is one of the things we do, where we have a monthly support group. And since the pandemic happened, we have to change a lot of things. So now we're doing our support group on Zoom, where people can, if it doesn't matter where you are, if you want the link, you just reach out to me and I can send you the link to the support group. It's not, I don't put it out there publicly on Facebook because of the ladies, because of HIPAA also, and that personal information. But we have a great speakers that come on every month. And so those are some of the things we do. And we walk with the families also. And if I cannot help you, then I can connect you with somebody else. And this is a good story right here. So one of my ladies, she opted out for doing traditional treatment. And so one day she called me. She said, Miss Rose, I'm in Mexico. I'm like, what you doing in Mexico? She was down there getting treatment, because she chose to do the homeopathic method of treatment. And that's another thing. I'm here to support you. Whether you do traditional treatment or you choose homeopathic or whichever way you walk, I walk with you on that journey. I'm your support because I want you to do something. I don't want you to just sit there and say, I'm not going to do anything, but I want you to do something, and whatever you choose to do, I walk with you on that journey. And so that was the beauty of, phone and the beauty of having Zoom and everything, that she just called me up and said, I just wanted to give you a good report and everything. I'm down here and I'm cancer free now and everything. And so that was the beauty of having, the phone and then the Zoom meetings we have. Ladies can tune in with me. Or another lady of mine, she was a client of mine. She was getting treatment that day and her insurance got all mixed up, and she called me, and she was actually in the treatment room. And she was talking to me and the nurse was there. And they said, who are you talking to? She said, this is my support team I'm talking to. And so I was able to give her the information that I said, now, this is what you tell them. And she told them so she could get the help she needed. And they agreed with her because it was right. They needed to give her that help that she needed at that time. So those are some of the things that we do. And we have other stories, great stories, to tell, but that's what we do at Hope for the Journey. And I have a great team of ladies that work with me also. And so we can connect women with different women who they want to talk with. But Hope for the Journey, we help women before, during, and after diagnosis of breast cancer. And after the diagnosis, when you're recovering from breast cancer, when life is beginning again, and you don't know what you're going to do, because your life is different. I use myself as an example. I couldn't go back to the job that I was doing because of the emotional part of the job and the physical part of the job. So I had to do something different. And a lot of women can't go back to their jobs. So they got to figure out what am I going to do now? What about insurance? What about disability? So I kind of point them in direction where they can get the help that they need also after a journey of breast cancer. And the young ladies, we talk about remarriage, we talk about having kids, we talk about dating. And dating is a big thing. It's not only for young women, it's for women that are older also. We have to talk about that, like, this is it. This is me right here, being real, like, these girls may not be real, but this is what I have. So they have to discuss, these are things we talk about. If they want to start dating again, you have to have this conversation. And I said, have this conversation up front. If this is a person you want to be with and you know that you want to be with this person, have this conversation with them. Have it and see where their minds are, and don't wait too long if you really want to keep dating this person. And so they do that. Some of them have done it and come back with good reports. Some of them come back with the reports. But I said, that's okay. That God got somebody else for you. And so those are